a peninsular prelude setting the stage for the Crimean War. The Crimean War was a significant conflict that reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe. The Crimean War, a brutal conflict, a clash of empires. It was a war that saw immense suffering and heroism, with battles that would be remembered for generations. In its heart, a cavalry charge forever etched in history. The charge of the Light Brigade became a symbol of bravery and the futility of war. But to understand the charge of the Light Brigade, we must first journey back to the Napoleonic Wars, a time of great upheaval and change. Back to the Napoleonic Wars, where many of the Crimean War's protagonists cut their teeth. These earlier conflicts set the stage for the rivalries and alliances that would later erupt in Crimea. The Crimean War, you see, was more than just a regional conflict. It was a struggle for dominance, a test of wills between powerful empires. It was the culmination of decades of simmering tensions between Russia and the Ottoman Empire, fueled by religious differences and territorial ambitions. These tensions had been building for years, creating a powder keg ready to explode. Britain and France, wary of a resurgent Russia, found themselves drawn into the fray, determined to maintain the balance of power in Europe. Their involvement turned a regional dispute into a full-scale war. The stage was set for a tragedy that would see countless lives lost and change the course of history. A tragedy that would unfold on the plains of Crimea. The Battle of Balaclava, among others, would become legendary, remembered for both its heroism and its horrors. The Light Brigade, an elite force on the brink of disaster. At the heart of this tragedy was the Light Brigade, a force of elite British cavalrymen. Armed with lances and sabres, they were the epitome of speed and agility. Their mission to harass the enemy, scout for weaknesses, and deliver swift strikes. The Light Brigade was no stranger to danger. They had fought with distinction in the Peninsular War, earning a reputation for their bravery and dash, but nothing could prepare them for what awaited them in Crimea. Their commander, Lord Cardigan, was an aristocratic officer. Known for his strict discipline and flamboyant style, he was a controversial figure. He was about to lead his men into a maelstrom of death and glory. The fog of war, miscommunication and misjudgment in the valley, the Battle of Balaclava, October 25, 1854. The air was thick with tension. The Russians, having suffered a setback earlier in the day, were in retreat, but a crucial opportunity presented itself. A battery of Russian guns left exposed on the far end of a valley was ripe for the taking. Lord Raglan, the overall British commander, saw this chance. He dispatched an order for the Light Brigade to advance. But the order was fatally flawed. It was unclear, ambiguous. Lord Lucan, Cardigan's brother-in-law and commander of the cavalry division, was confused. He questioned the order, but to no avail. The die was cast. The charge, a suicide mission into the Valley of Death. It was a moment etched in history, a tale of bravery and tragedy. Lord Cardigan received the order. Advance, it simply read. The simplicity of the command belied the complexity and danger that lay ahead. He knew something was wrong. The air was thick with tension and uncertainty. He could see the Russian guns bristling with menace at the end of the valley. The enemy was well prepared, their artillery positioned strategically. He turned to his aide-de-camp, Captain Nolan. The weight of the decision was heavy on his shoulders. "But, sir, there appears to be a misunderstanding," he protested. His voice carried a mix of concern and urgency. "Is it your lordship's intention that we should attack those guns?" The question hung in the air, filled with disbelief. Nolan, perhaps caught in the heat of the moment, gestured vaguely down the valley. His gesture was both a plea and a command. "There, my lord, is your enemy," he replied, "and there are your guns." His words were a stark reminder of the peril they faced. And so the Light Brigade charged. With unwavering resolve, they rode into the jaws of death. 600 horsemen riding into the Valley of Death, each one aware of the grim fate that awaited them. The ground thundered beneath the hooves of their horses. The sound was deafening, a prelude to the chaos that would follow. Cannon fire ripped through their ranks. The air was filled with smoke and the cries of the wounded. Men and horses fell, screaming in agony. The scene was one of utter devastation. But still, they rode on, a testament to their courage and discipline. Their bravery would be remembered for generations to come. Section 5. The Aftermath. A Pyrrhic Victory and a Legacy of Loss. The Light Brigade reached the Russian guns. They engaged in fierce hand-to-hand combat, their sabers flashing in the sunlight. They succeeded in their objective, overrunning the Russian battery, but their victory was short-lived. Russian reinforcements arrived, pushing them back. The Light Brigade, decimated and exhausted, retreated up the valley, leaving a trail of dead and wounded in their wake. Of the 673 men who rode into the valley, only 197 returned unharmed. The charge of the Light Brigade, a testament to British courage, was also a monument to military incompetence. Section 6. The legacy of the charge, a testament to courage and sacrifice. The charge of the Light Brigade sent shockwaves through Britain. The public was horrified by the scale of the losses. Questions were asked. Blame was assigned. Alfred, Lord Tennyson, Poet Laureate of Great Britain, immortalized the charge in his poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade. His words captured the raw emotion, the senseless loss, and the enduring courage of the men who rode into the Valley of Death. The charge became a symbol of both military valor and the tragic consequences of miscommunication and poor leadership. Section 7. Beyond the battlefield, the charge in art, literature, and memory. The charge of the Light Brigade has continued to capture the imagination of artists, writers, and filmmakers for over a century. Paintings, poems, novels, and films have all sought to grapple with the complexities of this historical event. From Tennyson's stirring poem to the epic scope of the 1968 film adaptation, the charge has become a lens through which to explore themes of courage, sacrifice, duty, and the horrors of war. Its enduring legacy speaks to the power of storytelling to preserve and reinterpret history. To Section 8. Learning from the charge, the enduring importance of military communication. The charge of the Light Brigade holds valuable lessons for military leaders and historians alike. It underscores the critical importance of clear, concise, and unambiguous communication in the chaos of battle. The tragedy of the charge was not simply a matter of bravery or stupidity, it was a failure of leadership at multiple levels. A failure to communicate effectively, a failure to adapt to changing circumstances, a failure to prioritize the lives of the men under their command. By studying the mistakes of the past, we can strive to avoid repeating them in the future. The charge of the Light Brigade serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the enduring need for effective military leadership. Section 9. Conclusion. The charge of the Light Brigade, a story of courage and folly. The charge of the Light Brigade remains one of the most iconic and enduring events in military history. It has been immortalized in poetry, art, and countless historical accounts, capturing the imagination of generations. It is a story of courage and folly, of bravery and blunder, of individual heroism and collective tragedy. The men who rode into battle that day were not just soldiers, they were symbols of a nation's pride and the embodiment of military valor. The men who rode into the Valley of Death that day did so with unwavering courage and loyalty. They knew the odds were against them, yet they charged forward, driven by duty and honor. They followed their orders, knowing full well the risks involved. The miscommunication that led to their charge was a tragic error, but their commitment to their mission was unshakable. Their sacrifice, though born of a terrible mistake, stands as a testament to the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. The aftermath of the charge left a lasting impact on military strategy and highlighted the need for better communication in warfare. The charge of the Light Brigade is a story that continues to resonate with us today. It serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities of war and the human cost of conflict. It reminds us of the horrors of war, the importance of clear communication, and the enduring power of human courage in the face of adversity. The lessons learned from this event continue to inform military practices and remind us of the bravery and sacrifice of those who serve.